Good day, fellow Jersey Nerds, and welcome to episode 76 of the Jersey Nerds podcast, powered by HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. I'm your host, Ryan, and this week I'm joined by Shawn and Bpoe in the co-host chairs, and we're going to be talking about the Charlottetown Islanders new sweaters for the 2019-2020 season. Those were just released this past week, bit of a surprise there. And this is the Jersey Nerds podcast. So Nerds Unite, we are going to be talking about the Star Wars Episode 9 teaser, which came out over the past week. No, it's not hockey related, but I love Star Wars, and I come up with the ideas for this podcast. So that's what we're doing. As I mentioned, Shawn and Bpoe are joining me this week. Shawn, how was your week?
Well, I was sick for half of it. That was the fun part when I got the flu, but instead of coughing and sneezing, I felt congested, was in very achy mood. Slept for about 8 hours after I went home sick from work on Sunday. And overall, just couldn't even keep my eyes open. And then woke up the next day feeling relatively fine. Other than that, I've been really enjoying watching Tampa Bay get swept. That was great. I like that part. That was my favorite part of the week. My other favorite part of the week, of course, when the Star Wars trailer drops, I am the abashed prequel defender of the podcast.
That's awful.
Episode 3 is my favorite. And I also have spent some time in PEI over the past 2.5, 3 years. So, in short, I'm a mild but discredited expert on everything we're talking about today.
Fantastic. That's what the Jersey Nerds podcast is for. Now, also joining us is Bpoe, and this is fantastic because, Bpoe, if you could give yourself a rating out of 10 of how big of a Star Wars fan are you, where would you fall on that scale if 10 is a super fanboy?
Just recording a podcast, Ryan. How about you?
I forgot to do my line. Damn it.
I'm just recording a podcast here in my Toronto St. Pat's shirt jersey because now that the Penguins have been swept out of the playoffs, I am bandwagoning the Leafs and the Golden Knights and the Hurricanes.
It's a lot of wagons to ride on.
It is, but at least only 2 of them are in the East, and one of them also very well. I don't know what I'm saying. What's this phrase? May very well be getting eliminated in the first round as well, that being Carolina, but hey, it's 2-1. So.
This first round has just been crazy, and who knows, by the time the people listen to this, we could have just everybody out and just all brackets eliminated. Busted. Yeah, just brackets
the
busted all over the place.
Move on are Columbus and the New York Islanders.
They're just going to play for the cup right off the hop.
I know. The funny thing about this is that it's like I know actual personal friends of mine who are Blue Jackets fans, Hurricanes fans, but I don't know a Tampa fan.
No, that's a good point. I don't think I've met.
About it for a second. I know Avs fans, I know Stars fans, I know fans of all these teams that I thought of it just number one team in the league. You'd expect a little bit of bandwagoning for. When the Canucks were doing it, there were fans. When the Blackhawks were doing it, there were fans. I'm sure when the Blues were doing it 19 years ago, they probably had a few, fans roll in back in the old Scott Trade Center. But tell me if you've met a Tampa fan.
I have not.
Or over Twitter.
No, in real life. If you're at work and you're shooting shit with a coworker and you're talking about sports, so I'll talk and be like, oh yeah, I'm an ex-Thrashers fan. What about you? And they'll say, oh, I like, and then insert any team. And then I could never hear, I like Tampa. I like that Stamkos kid. Literally every other team. I think I've even met an Arizona fan.
Part of me feels like I met a Tampa fan, but I can't remember who it was. But I'm not sure I've met too many fans in person of teams that aren't the Penguins because I live in Pittsburgh. I did see work on Sunday wearing a Carolina Hurricane shirt. Actually, it looked like a couple, a guy and a girl, both wearing Hurricane shirts.
Weird. Who likes the Hurricanes? Nobody. But just going back to the Star Wars question, Bpoe, because this is going to be fun. If you had to rate how much of a Star Wars fan you are, or how much you know, with 10 being super fanboy, where do you fall on the scale?
11. Just kidding. Probably somewhere between a 1 and a 2.
Yes.
I watched 1 or 2 of the movies a couple years ago. I don't remember which ones.
Though there's only 9 or 10 to choose from, so 11. There's 11 of them to choose from. Plus a cartoon.
4 of them are good.
There's like 6 of them are good. We'll get into it.
Now, what I can't about is Harry Potter. I just finished reading those books and watching those movies a week or 2 ago.
Oh, Harry Potter.
Oh, so a fun story about Harry Potter. I hated Harry Potter as a kid.
There's my ringtone.
Thanks, Bpoe. Funny story about Harry Potter as a kid. I had an idea in my head, and I still maintain this kind of as a joke, but that I didn't like Harry Potter as a kid because I saw it as unrealistic. But Star Wars was realistic.
Star Wars could totally happen, man.
Well, I just thought, well, we have spaceships, sort of, in real life. This is like 2002. It's like, well, you got space shuttles, you know. It's like, what, 2 steps off from Millennium Falcon? But magic wands, unrealistic. And it's like, well, what about the Force? It's like, well, yeah, sometimes things move, and we didn't see anything move them, so okay.
We're closer. We're closer to the Millennium Falcon because SpaceX, they named their rockets the Falcon, and it's named after the Millennium Falcon.
So my car. My car is called the Millennium Matrix, mainly because I have to hit things to start it, like Han Solo does. If the light doesn't turn on, I'll just hit the panel, and away she goes.
I mean, hey, there is a 50-50 chance of either Star Wars or Harry Potter becoming like real life.
I've been to Harry Potter World at Universal Studios, so that was pretty close to real life. I got to get to Star Wars Land, but that just opened. That's going to be nuts. Anyways, this is the Jersey Nerds. What was that, Shawn?
The lines are going to be long, and there are going to be people who are going to say, actually, Watto was a junk trader, not a scrapsman. You know, we clearly don't know what you're talking about.
I love Star Wars, but there's no way I'm waiting 5 hours in line for anything, probably.
What about 4 hours and 59 minutes?
Maybe. We'll talk about it. All right. So this is the Jersey Nerds podcast. So it's important that we do actually talk about some Jersey news, and we'll get to that next. This is the HJC Podcast Network. New shows every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Okay, so the Jersey News, I keep saying Jersey Nerds, Jersey News of the week is coming from the QMJHL, and we have the Charlottetown Islanders will be coming out with new sweaters for the 2019-2020 season, and they revealed a picture actually on Tuesday, and we have a fairly classic jersey here. They have a Vegas gold colored jersey, and they have a white jersey. A pretty simple arm striping, big, broad. Let's start with the gold jersey, a big, broad black stripe. And that's outlined in a gold stripe and then a white stripe. And that's on both the top and the bottom. The hem of the jersey is a black base. And above that, it's outlined in gold and then white again. They haven't changed their logo. They have a single color black shoulder yoke. And as we know, the CCM Quick Light jersey system is coming to the entire Canadian Hockey League next year. So they have a CCM Quick Light laced up collar for this jersey. Now, the first thing that I did notice, which was kind of cool, I'm still not a fan of these collars, but instead of using a black lace, the Islanders are going to go with a skate lace, a black skate lace. It's kind of got little white markings on it. Looks exactly the same as the type of lace you would see in a hockey skate. Not the traditional white lace. It's a black lace. Going to the white jersey, it's pretty much just flipped. White jersey, big black broad stripe on the arms outlined in white and then gold on both the top and the bottom. Big black hem outlined in white and gold again. And the single color black shoulder yoke. Again, the logo hasn't changed. We haven't seen what the numbers look like. But based on this jersey, we might expect just a classic block lettering. Shawn, when you saw these jerseys, what was your initial thought here?
I saw it as a natural progression. The Islanders wore very similar jerseys under the CCM CHL cut, but those featured the PEI and Charlottetown flags on the shoulders, which I'm glad they got rid of because while sometimes a flag patch can work, Charlottetown's flag is green and purple. So that did not work. And PEI's flag is asymmetrical, which also didn't work. So this is a natural progression. I think the Islanders originally came into the QMJHL with St. Louis Blues style or Nashville Predators style jerseys back in I think it was 2013, 2012, around then. And the interesting thing about that was that they dropped the script and put this logo on the front of it, but they've had the same jersey since they came into the league. So I'm glad that they're finally changing it up, and obviously the league's turning more colorful as time goes on. I think that a lot of teams are moving away from black. The QMJHL has that kind of moving away. And, overall, I think it's an upgrade.
All right, people, what do you think looking at these Islanders jerseys?
I definitely have to agree with Shawn in the sense that I think they are a natural progression from what they were wearing before. And these things I think are much nicer than their other jerseys because I never was a fan of their previous set. I think the biggest upgrade, in my opinion, is changing the home road, the dark jersey, from black to gold. As I'm sure any listener for more than one podcast with me on it knows that I like a lot of color. This brings a lot of color. And while the road doesn't bring a lot of color, I think they made the right move with having it primarily black because it's kind of like with the Predators, how their current road jersey is too yellow and it just stands out too much from the pants and they just don't clash well together. Having too much gold on that one probably would have had the same effect, so having it black works perfectly. It's like a reverse color balance is what I call it, because the primary color on the road jersey isn't the primary of the home jersey, but it works just as well in my opinion. And I mean, it's a very simple design, but it works really well, and I believe it's very similar to what their alternate was before, right?
I'm not familiar with their alternate
or whatever the hell this is that I just found on Google.
Which
that might not have been. Yeah,
literally, their new home jersey with a white outline on the yoke. Did you see it, Ryan?
Yeah, and everybody who purchased the video feed for $20.99 for 10 minutes would be able to see that too. So that's good. But yes, it's very similar, extremely similar to their previous gold alternate jersey. My next question is, and I really appreciate how classic they've gone here, and no one's tried to reinvent the wheel. They've used a successful hockey sweater design. Have they gone too simple, Shawn?
I think yes, but it's very simple things. I think that a shoulder patch would really help. They do have an alternate logo that is like a lighthouse, and it uses in the same way that maybe the San Diego Padres do over in that weird sport baseball, where the center of the logo is very thin and they make them progressively larger as it goes out to each end. And they work in the stereotypical striped candy pole lighthouse, but in obviously Vegas gold or island sand brown or whatever it's supposed to be, and white on it. I think you really could have worked in there, maybe something with an anchor, just something on the shoulders here. I think that's where it's really too plain. If they go with the standard block font, I think that's a really missed opportunity. They could work in some rounded fonts, something very similar to what they have on the Islanders font. And overall, it's just not the same. I don't know. Maybe the PEI Rocket. I know for a fact the PEI Rocket are fondly remembered on the island. They were one of those things that it's like, sure, they were crap. The name was crap. They looked like crap and they played like crap. But God, we loved them. And I just don't think the Islanders have that. I think that it's a very by the book. Like, yeah, it's nice, but it's just not the same. And I think that this is moving a little closer to, what a lot of Islanders fans want, but I don't know.
Bpoe, is this too simple, or are you like me and you appreciate a classic design?
I agree with Shawn in that they definitely don't come out and wow you, but I disagree in that I don't think they're too simple. I think a shoulder patch or something like that may have helped, but I think they're fine as is. I mean, it's not like it's completely barren. It's not like it's Tampa Bay's third jerseys. Actually, can I start a conspiracy now if those third jerseys are the reason that they got swept?
That's why Tampa Bay's out of the playoffs, because they tried a shitty jersey.
Anyways, yeah, it's not too simple. It's definitely not too simple. It's got enough going on with it. It's got a good classic hem pattern, and the arm just kind of like flips that over. For those of you who see the jersey, that'll make sense.
There will be a link to an image of the jersey in the show notes. So for anybody who's looking to take a peek at the jersey, check out the show notes. There's a link to the image. But
yeah, I think
go ahead, Bpoe.
I think it's like right on the line between too simple and fine, but I think it falls on the good side. And I also forgot to mention before that I still can't see that the laces are skate laces, but I'm going to take your word for it, and I absolutely love that detail about it.
Well, that was my next point. That's my favorite detail about the jersey. So I just think that's really cool. They took a chance, and that really could have been looked at as cheap or hokey or goofy or anything like that. But I appreciate that they took a chance, and I really think it works with these jerseys because they are so black heavy up in the neck and shoulder area. Shawn, how do you feel about the black skate laces on the neck?
I like them to a point. I think that it's actually a really good detail. My problem with it is, again, that there's so, if it was just a black collar with that, I'd really like it. But with the black yoke, I almost feel like it's too much, especially on the white jersey. I think you kind of suffer from Pittsburgh or inverse Pittsburgh syndrome, where you're color balancing off. But unlike Pittsburgh, you can't pull it off. I think that you would actually need a bright yoke to really pull it off. I think it works a lot better on the dark jersey than it does on the white jersey. The white jersey kind of takes away from it.
All right, good stuff. So that's the Charlottetown Islanders jersey review.
7 out of 10.
I was just going to get to that, Shawn. Let's give it a rating out of 10. You're going 7 out of 10. What's the main reason for that?
It's nothing special, but it's nothing bad. I think that, serviceable is the word I use. I don't think that, you aren't like Halifax where you inherit a used NHL design and actually use it better than the NHL team. But you're not quite like Gatineau where you're just terrible. So, they're in the top 50%, but they haven't really cracked into that top 10, top 5 in the league.
Bpoe, where do you place this out of 10?
I think I'll give it a 7.5. It doesn't wow you, but it still looks pretty nice.
And I'm also going to give it a 7.5. It looks nice. It's classic, so I appreciate that. It's new, so it's not some sort of retro faux or retro throwback, which is always appreciated right now. And again, the skate laces give it that extra half point. I think that's really creative, something small. So I'm also going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. We're going to come right back with the meat and potatoes of this podcast. We're going to take a deep dive into the Star Wars Episode 9 teaser. Okay, so Star Wars Episode 9, it's coming out this Christmas. This is the part if you're not a Star Wars fan and you're only here for the hockey, you can probably turn our podcast off now because the rest is going to be about Star Wars. We have Shawn. Go ahead. What's up, people? No, you're done?
Hey, you said if I'm not a Star Wars fan, turn the podcast off.
You're on the podcast. You're not allowed to leave.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah?
All right, this is going to be good, though, Bpoe. You can provide perspective. Maybe people do want to stay around. So you're going to be the voice of the people who are not Star Wars fans, who are angry that we're going to be diving deep into this teaser. Shawn, let's start off with you because you're going to have a completely different opinion. And your top 3 Star Wars films.
Okay, are we talking about good or my favorites?
Your favorite. It's a personal opinion thing.
Episode 3 is my favorite. I saw it in theaters. It's the only Star Wars movie I had seen in theaters up until the new trilogy. I love it. I love all the in-jokes in it. I love how silly it is, but it's also really good. My second favorite is Rogue One. I really liked Rogue One. I think a lot of people did. And I feel really glad that there are people out there who they've only ever seen one Star Wars movie all the way through, and it's Rogue One. I'm like, okay, so you've seen a good one. And number 3 is Empire. It's probably the best one in terms of like filmmaking, film quality, acting. If acting in a Star Wars movie is particularly great. There's like 5 or 6 different plots in it, and it's really interesting. And I guess the twist was something if you were like I guess when they first came out, there was a twist in it, and a pretty significant one. So there's that. Those are my top 3 honorable mentions to Jedi and Phantom Menace. Just kidding.
Phantom Menace should never have existed, but my top 3.
I like Phantom Menace more than Jedi.
Oh, you're the worst. You're the worst, Shawn. You're wrong.
I like, but I like Jedi. Like the only 2 ones that I think are anywhere near bad are episode 2 and 8.
8, yeah. Well, we'll get into 8 in a second. There. What the hell was 8 called? I'm blanking on The Last Jedi. Fuck The Last Jedi.
Fuck The Last Jedi.
All right, Bpoe, as a Star Wars outsider here, I think you said you've only seen 1 or 2 Star Wars films. So based on the Star Wars films that you have seen, what is your favorite Star Wars film?
I'm personally a fan of Darth Vader and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I mean, in all fairness, though, like I said, I think I don't remember if I told you earlier whenever I said I've only seen 1 or 2 Star Wars films. I don't remember which ones they were. So I guess I'll have to go with whichever Star Wars film that I watched. Both me and you guys.
So what happened in the Star Wars film that you watched?
People flew and stuff and shot each other, I guess. I honestly don't remember.
I was Saving Private Ryan.
You weren't watching
for enough to distinguish it. It's been a couple years, man.
I hope you weren't watching Star Trek. Because if you're
I promise you it wasn't Star Trek.
All right, that's good. So you just before we started recording, you watched the teaser, and as a non-Star Wars fan or someone who hasn't seen a lot of Star Wars, did it pique your interest in any way?
I like the cinematography because I'm sort of, I'm a graphic design major and I'm in a video class, so videography interests me, and that was interesting. I like that about it.
Now, also, again, as a Star Wars, I guess, outsider, did it do anything to draw you into the story, or did you feel like you had to see the other films to really get into it?
I'm going to go with the second option, but I've never been like huge, at least recently. Whenever I was an angsty 5th grader in like Call of Duty, maybe my answer would have been different, but I have, at least as of recently, I'm not like big into like shooter movies or like action movies or shooter games, stuff like that. Like, for example, I've never played Fortnite or something like that. I never got into something like that. So I don't know if that's just me or not. I don't want to like rip their trailer for not being able to pique my interest as a non-Star Wars fan.
Well, that should be the point of it, don't you think? You have the Star Wars fans, but you're never going to grow any kind of franchise unless you interest some outside people who were not necessarily going to watch your product to begin with. So,
I mean, yeah, definitely. But I just don't want to say their trailer was unsuccessful in doing that because a small sample size of it did not work for.
Okay. How about like Marvel stuff? Do you get into Avengers or anything like that?
I like the meme, like Ant-Man going up Thanos' ass. I like the meme.
All right. Going back to Shawn. Shawn, let's talk The Last Jedi. When this came out, I wanted to do just a completely separate review on it because this movie pissed me off so much and just ruined everything great about The Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi just took all of that and tried to flush it down the toilet.
I thought there's a lot of potential for a really good movie. And if you watch the deleted scenes of it, they threw out some good stuff in there, let me tell you. Like, there's a scene in it where Luke tries to train Rey, this is in the deleted scenes of The Last Jedi, not to act on emotion by telling her that a caretaker party is actually a pirate raid, and she bursts in there ready to, ready to kick ass, and they're all just standing there having fun, and she doesn't know it, and she gets all mad at Luke, but really he's trying to teach her not to make the mistakes he did when he got his arm chopped. It was really good, and I'm like, why the hell did you cut this from the movie? So there was that. I wasn't a big fan of the casino scene.
Oh, no.
That was terrible. The throne room battle scene was fun for the 3 minutes it was on. I really liked the design of the guards. The twists were okay. I don't mind now seeing what they're doing with this one. It seems that Snoke got killed off. Great, whatever. We now know. I wasn't actually a big fan of episode 7. It was okay.
What?
It's just gone stale with me. It's fine. It's passable, but it's serviceable, but it's not.
And where do you sit
on the? It never really.
Where do you sit on the Han Solo film?
Never seen it, won't see it. I heard about the twist at the end and said, nope, that's enough for me. I also heard that there's a line in it where he says he doesn't have a last name, so he says he's on his own, and the guy says Solo. And when I heard that happen, I was like, no.
Yeah,
God, no.
that was pretty hokey. That was the hokiest part of the film.
Which is funny because Rogue One was incredibly hokey, but in a good way.
Rogue One wasn't hokey. Rogue One was fantastic.
It was, but it was hokey. Like, rebellions are built on hope, and it's like, oh, a new hope. I get it. Oh, and it ends with Leia. What do you get? Hope.
Oh, that's the best. That was so good.
The thing that rubs salt in Last Jedi's wound is how good Infinity War was. Like, I was blown away by Infinity War, and not only how good it was, not just how good Josh Brolin was as Thanos, just the fact that this movie existed and wasn't shit, but was also like the best movie in that series amazed me. But it was the way that it ended. And while I knew that was coming, I was still sitting in the theater with a friend of mine, and she's a much bigger Marvel fan than I am. And she's her favorite character goes. I'm just like, oh my God, they pulled this off. And it just ends. It's like Empire. It just ends. And they're beaten. And I'm like, fuck, they did it.
They made such a good film. All right, let's get back on the Star Wars trail here, because I actually get mad that Infinity War is so good and may outsell Star Wars. But either way, so the teaser, we'll call it a teaser. It's definitely not a trailer. All we know so far, before it starts, is that it's a Star Wars Episode 9 teaser. And so the Lucasfilm logo comes up. Now, this logo alone can make Star Wars nerds freak out. You just show it on screen, just a little like twinkle music in the background. Star Wars nerds will freak out. They'll shut the fuck up because they want to see what's coming, but they'll also freak out. We then move in. We can hear heavy breathing. I think it's pretty obvious that it's Rey even before we see her. And then we see her on a desert planet now. Do we think this is Jakku? Maybe Tatooine? Maybe a new planet? I'm thinking Jakku, but Shawn, any thoughts there?
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah. It's the Lucasfilm logo.
I think it's Jakku personally. And I mean, I'm sure you'll get to it, but that scene there got me totally pumped for it. Like, just that entire scene was like, oh my, like I've always pictured someone doing that in the Star Wars universe, especially easy to replicate with Lego figures, but it's like, holy crap, it's every 9-year-old, it's how every 9-year-old plays with their Lego toys. Oh man, I really hope she sliced that thing in half.
Well, she's on a desert planet. I hope it's Jakku. It would kind of just be like this comfort blanket. Like J.J. Abrams is bringing it back to A Force Awakens, the movie that everyone seemed to love and that Last Jedi completely got away from. Then we hear Luke say, "We've passed all we know." And then Rey grabs Luke's lightsaber from her belt. And then we hear Luke again. 1,000 generations live in you now. So you get the whole idea that I guess Rey is obviously the last Jedi. And Luke is going to kind of be the Obi-Wan Kenobi figure guiding her with inspirational messages from beyond. From there, we see Rey has the saber in her hand. And then we see and hear a ship in the distance. So we're 30 seconds in. really not much has happened here other than Rey with a lightsaber and Luke Skywalker narrating essentially this teaser for us. I think there really was no fear about Luke not being in this episode, because if you follow Mark Hamill on Twitter, it was no secret that he's going to be in this film in some capacity. I just don't know how much they should use him or how much they have used him. I don't know what amount is appropriate. What would be appropriate for you, Shawn?
I'd say about the amount Alec Guinness was in episode 5.
Yes.
Or the amount Yoda was in episode 6. Or how they originally wanted to use Liam Neeson in Attack of the Clones. Where it's 10 minutes total.
Yeah.
I mean, do I think? Well, we'll get to what I think's going to happen, but yeah, I don't actually think he's going to be, given the title and what they're alluding to at the end of the trailer. I don't think he's going to be the only guy there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here, because they got to wrap absolutely everything up. So we're 30 seconds in. We've had Luke say we've passed on all we know. 1,000 generations live in you now, but this is your fight. And then we see the tag come up on the screen. Every generation has a legend. Then we start skimming along this desert surface, and we hear the ship approach, and then it blows by the screen in a trail of dust. Rey lights the saber, which is just classic. I mean, all of this is very comforting, just pulls you in. And then we see some leather gloves, which you would have to assume are driving this ship that's going after Rey. It pushes the ship onward and faster. Is this Kylo Ren? Are we meant to look into this a little deeper? I'm reading this as this is Kylo Ren because this is the battle that we're supposed to be drawn into. I don't know how you read this one, Shawn.
Yeah, I totally think it is. I think we're getting a big confrontation here. Or at least the introduction to a confrontation between the two of them. There's no secret now that they're going to have a big confrontation. As to whether or not it's going to be something along the lines of what Vader and Luke had in episode 6, we can only hope not.
Well, I think JJ did a great job essentially mirroring A New Hope in A Force Awakens, and maybe there's a little bit of the same thing here for this episode 9. So the ship approaches Rey, and then she does the fucking backflip of a lifetime, where she jumps what must be about 20 to 30 feet in the air backwards as she's running, of course, because she has the Force. She can do that. And she goes head over heels over the ship. We don't see what happens, but then we get another tag on the screen that just says, "This Christmas," and that lets us know the movie's coming out December 20th, 2019. I know, Bpoe, you're on Pins and Needles just listening to our review, but how much can you hardly wait for this movie?
Yes. I just gotta say real quick too. I think this is CGI right here. You guys think so?
Yeah, the words.
No, it's all practical.
Are you talking about the backflip or just the words randomly floating in space?
All of the above.
Well, the words are real. There's definitely words floating through space.
Can I chime in with a Star Wars related question real quick?
Of course.
Do you consider Emperor Palpatine to be a MILF?
To be a MILF? No. Who's this? No.
This is
this is
why
Reddit.
This is why we brought Bpoe onto this podcast, to bring insightful and credible questions like that. But no, I don't consider Emperor Palpatine to be a MILF.
I got another one from the same guy if you'd like it.
Just wait. Hold on. We'll wait. I'll come back to you, and you bring in another timely and insightful question when I come back to you in 2 minutes here. Where are we?
I have another question that's more related to hockey, but we'll get to that after.
What the fuck is hockey? All right, so we get the tag this
like
Christmas.
Star Wars without the guns and without the force and without the planes, and you add a little bit of ice and a stick and a puck and some net, some metal, and boom.
So it's nothing like Star Wars.
No, it's exactly like Star Wars. You just get rid of the guns and
More like Bionic.
They had bionic hockey. Anyways, that'll be for another day. All right, so now after we get the tag this Christmas, which lets us know it's coming out in December. I think that's when Christmas is this year. We get some classic Star Wars music in the back, which is actually Leia's theme. So we're playing with the heartstrings here. A ship approaches on a night. It's the Lucasfilm logo again. Good one, Bpoe. A ship approaches a night planet. Now, I couldn't help but think to myself, going back to Rogue One, this planet looks awfully similar to the planet that Galen Erso was doing his work on for the Empire. And I don't know if you had a chance to really go in depth on the teaser, Shawn, but did you see that connection, or it was like a quick 3-second shot?
100% I saw that. Yeah, it could be a new planet, but it really does look like that, especially like that first, when they're trying to break into that runway.
Yeah.
In the second part of, but the thing that throws me off with it is that there's snow and it's the city. And it almost seems to allude to the next scene after that. I think they take place on the same planet.
Possibly. We have Kylo attacking with his lightsaber, but no helmet in that shot. So I'm thinking we're going to get to that, but I'm thinking that might be earlier in the film, because the next shot is Kylo welding his mask back together, which to me, this just shows the stupidity and lack of foresight and just the total fuck-uppery of The Last Jedi, where they had Kylo destroy his helmet in the first 10 minutes of that movie. Which was just dumb.
Yeah, I never understood that. It was good for the trailer, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the welded version looks kind of cool. I mean,
hopefully
with the red, like punished Ren almost. It's all right.
And hopefully he does it early in the film. Like I want to see him back in that helmet. If they're going to do it, just put him back in that helmet and let's move on, because that's a fucked up thing that Last Jedi did.
I totally agree.
Yeah, Last Jedi took this character that they invested so much money and time in, and then they're like, let's make him... He's supposed to be emotionally unstable, but let's just take everything that looks cool about him, except for the lightsaber, and smash it in an elevator as he has a temper tantrum. Like, it was weak.
If there's one thing that I hope you give the prequels credit for, it's making you believe Anakin was 17 in episode 2 and in his early 20s in episode 3.
Yep.
Because they hate to say what you will about Hayden Christensen. He plays an emotionally unstable, superpowered teenager very well. And Kylo Ren has none of that.
All right,
if you're of a certain age, no one's going to be shouting Kylo Ren quotes.
Let's go back to Bpoe for a timely and informative Star Wars question. Go ahead, Bpoe.
Oh, I was getting ready. Is there a hatch in the Starfighter that people can poo out if they need toilet in space?
Yes, obviously, but it's not entertaining enough to deal in a primary film with.
Oh, come on.
Or do they just take it away like in Harry Potter?
They magic it away.
Because J.K. Rowling's tweets are all canon, right?
Oh my goodness. Yes, I think there would be a hatch to dispose of all of the... What's up, Shawn?
Say what you will about George Lucas. He is not J.K. Rowling in terms of ruining his works at all.
No, he did a pretty good. Lucas did a pretty good job ruining his own work.
Nowhere. I don't see George Lucas tweeting out. Well, or and the Force can manipulate midichlorians to take your poo out for you.
Oh my goodness. All right. It was going off track there because Bpoe had a great question. Let's go back to the teaser. We're about a minute 15 in now. We have Finn and Poe are shown on possibly the same desert planet. What I did note here in this shot is that Finn is now holding Rey's staff. That's her stick that she used to whack people with. Obviously, she's given that up for the lightsaber. In this scene, I did notice that Finn was holding it. I don't know if you caught on to that, Shawn, but seems a logical thing to do there.
Oh, 100%. I think Finn and Poe are my two favorite characters in these new movies. They tend to just be the best ones. They tend to be the most interesting ones. And I'm glad to see that they're back in this. I must admit that Poe looks very stylish with his scarf.
Thanks, Shawn.
You're welcome.
And not Bpoe, just Poe, no B.
Poe Dameron.
My name.
Bpoe, you are not in the new Star Wars film.
And they gave BB-8 a buddy.
They gave BB-8 a buddy?
In the next scene.
I just saw BB-8. Who else was there?
There's a little, go look at it. There's a little cone-shaped guy with a wheel. He's his buddy.
Oh, I thought that was just trash. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. I thought it was just space junk.
There's going to be a line like that in the movie. Just watch.
Oh, man.
Predicted a line.
I'm going to have to go back and look at that. See, that's why we review these things. The next shot after that is the Millennium Falcon flying through hyperspace. There's a pilot who we can't make out yet, and Chewie is in the co-pilot seat. So, again, just a comfort shot, letting you know that all your favorites are still going to be there. And then this is the part where I kind of cringed. Hopefully it's not a big part. Lando Calrissian is back. He's showing flying the Millennium Falcon. And as the actor would do, and Lando has done, he's aged and gained a bit of weight. And this is not the Lando I want to see in my Star Wars films. I don't know about you, Shawn.
Lando's an interesting character. First of all, why was he wearing Han's clothes at the end of episode 5? First of all. Second of all, I don't know. He's not a character I ever really wanted to see outside of episodes 5 and 6. But at the same time, I wonder what kind of role he has to play in this. I mean, he was okay in Solo. He was one of the few good parts of it. So you know what? I figure, hey, why not?
This one kind of feels like the WWE Royal Rumble where they just throw out a legend for a few minutes just to get people excited. Maybe it's that. Just here's a little Lando Calrissian for you. Okay, take him back in. He's done. Throw him over the top. Lando's done. The next shot is the Millennium Falcon coming out of hyperspace, and then we move to another tag on the screen, and this one got me because it just all of a sudden became official. The tag said, "The saga comes to an end." And it just kicked me right in the gut that, my almost favorite thing of all time is coming to an end. The idea is there's going to be more Star Wars films, but not this story. And it's coming to an end. And I don't know if that had any effect on you, Shawn.
Well, one thing to remember is in my lifetime, the movies went from being over with 3. Then they showed what happened before with 3. And for a good long while, they were done. You know, this is an interesting feeling because it's like, I remember them wrapping up. I remember it's like, there's 6 of them. You know, so it's like, okay, but they already ended. You know, I don't have that sort of attachment to it because it would have been close to 10 years of my life, 9 years. So the Star Wars saga was over. It was done. I still got lots of enjoyment out of it. You know, this is back in the day when all those billions of novels they wrote in the 90s and 80s were still canon. So there was lots of stuff. And the video games are really good. So, you know, it was fine. But now it isn't even over. Look at all the TV series.
That's true, but this story is over, where the Skywalkers are the main focus of the story. And
were they even the focus of episode 1?
Well, Anakin is. He's supposed to be.
Or Rogue One?
No, Rogue One is a separate. That's why it wasn't in the Skywalker saga. It was a separate film.
And think about how good it was.
It was so good. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's go to Bpoe for a timely and informative Star Wars question. Bpoe, are you ready with your next Star Wars question?
It's not a question, but yes. Anakin Skywalker. He invented good way to shave the head. Lava.
You people and your...
I'm not sure this dude's got any more Star Wars questions left in his profile.
Why don't you start thinking of some of your own Star Wars questions here, Bpoe?
Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader had gay sex together.
Not possible. Just...
It's possible J.K. Rowling wrote.
Oh my God.
Star Wars.
All right. Well, now we got to move on because Bpoe's upsetting me in my favorite thing of all time. The next thing we see is a battle on the desert planet, and then we see in the next shot Finn, Poe Dameron, C-3PO riding on a ship, and I thought the ship was very reminiscent of the Sarlacc pit from Return of the Jedi. I don't know if you thought the same thing, Shawn.
I think any sort of sand barge. Now, I had multiple Lego sets of the different size sand barges growing up. I had the small one that they took off in, and I had Jabba's sand barge. So, it did look like that. So it almost makes me think it's Tatooine.
Yeah, that. I made the same connection there. So that's really interesting. The next shot after that, we just see someone's hands rubbing a metal. And I believe this is the same medal that Luke and Han received from at the end of A New Hope. So that will be, maybe that's just some throwaway thing, or maybe that will be a very interesting storyline. That is a really cool shot worth debating. I don't know if you thought the same thing, Shawn.
Is it going to be like the dice in episode 8, or like Anakin's shadow in episode 1? Or, are we going to get like something cool, like a Stanley cameo, something like that? I want it to be something memorable. I like it when I remember these little things in movies, but when I think about like the dice, I'm like, oh, great.
All right. The next shot, and this one is supposed to pull on the heartstrings again. We have, they said they were going to find a way to put Carrie Fisher into this film. And she's in the teaser, and her and Rey are hugging, and then we hear Luke say, "We'll always be with you." This one was supposed to get everyone. Didn't really get me, but still a cool shot nonetheless.
It's okay, Ryan. It didn't get me either.
No way, Bpoe. I thought you were hooked on this one. Shawn, did the shot mean anything to you, or?
Yeah, I don't know. Princess Leia, I think, is like, if you go back to episode 5, she does a lot. Like, without her, the whole thing falls apart, really. And, ditto for a lot of episode 6 too. She's a big part of this whole saga. And in that regard, it's a big deal. On the other hand, Carrie Fisher was never young in my lifetime. So it's like, and her drug addiction in my point, in my lifetime also fairly wrapped up. She wasn't, it wasn't the 80s, So, it was kind of like she had moved on from that. And when she passed away, it was like, oh, that's sad. And it sucks. But I wasn't there for most of the entire, thing, so yeah, I'm torn on it.
It didn't really affect, it didn't really affect me. I think it didn't affect me the way it was supposed to. It's just cause I'm skeptical of how they're going to include Princess Leia in the movie and whether or not it's going to be cheesy and whether or not it's going to look forced. So we'll have to see if that goes. I was way more impacted by the last shot in Rogue One, where they get the plans onto the ship, and you're like, no way. Are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? And then she turns around, and it's friggin' Carrie Fisher from 1977. And that one
that was huge.
Yeah, that one had way more of an effect on me. All right, Bpoe, it's your turn. Here we go. A timely and informative Star Wars question.
Breadsticks can be dunked underwater and then dried off, and you get breadstick.
What did you just say? Mumbles?
I really want to say this out laughing, but it's hard to. Breadsticks can be dunked underwater and then dried off, and you get breadstick.
And in what way is that a Star Wars question?
It's not, but I have no more Star Wars left. This dude's this dude's account is a gold mine now.
I got one.
For those of you subscribed to the HJC video feed, you can see me not paying attention to the podcast and just scrolling through this dude's Reddit profile, laughing my ass off.
What's your Star Wars question there, Shawn?
My Star Wars question is, how come in the video games, like all the ships are basically the same, and then in the show, or in the movies, you never see the Y-wings or the B-wings do fucking anything? Like, why do they keep them around if all that you're going to see is A-wings and X-wings doing cool shit?
I'm not terribly familiar with the video games, so I wish I could jump in on that. But the external kind of the side Star Wars universe stuff has always bothered me because it's on the outside, right? It's on the peripheral, and they've always tried to stretch the boundaries as much as they could with that stuff without affecting the main story. So I've never really paid enough attention to it. I got to be honest with you, the only Star Wars two video games that I ever played heavily, Lightsaber Duels, I think that was on the original Xbox, and Lego Star Wars, which may be my favorite video game of all time.
Hey, I can chime in. I played that game too.
Lego Star Wars, but I like go through the whole saga. You can play in 2-player mode. It's a fairly simple game, so you can kind of turn your brain off and just have some fun. That was a lot of fun playing that game. All right, let's go. We're about just over a minute and a half of the 2-minute teaser here. Like we discussed, Leia and Rey were just hugging. We had Luke with some more narration. We'll always be with you. The next scene, we have Rey, Poe, Finn, C-3PO, BB-8, Chewie, and maybe that piece of space trash. I don't know. It could be hiding in the grass. They approach this cliff, and they find a destroyed Death Star, or a giant piece of a destroyed Death Star. This is the shot that got me, that completely sucked me in. I have to see this movie. What are they going to do with this Death Star? Hopefully it just wasn't some sort of visual stimulation that's going to go away. This was the shot that really got me. I don't know about you, Shawn.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the intro shot got me, but just seeing seeing something other than the not Empire built a big thing we have to go blow up. I'm like, okay, we're past that now. All right, I'm ready to watch this. And we're not playing catch the truck that's running out of fuel. We're not playing that this time, which is nice.
All right, so then the teaser starts to wrap up. I'm going to finish it off here, and we'll talk about a few things. So Luke says, "No one's ever really gone," which was the whole line that people are hooked on. Then the screen goes black, and we get a maniacal laugh. And I've heard so many people say, "Oh, God, they're bringing back the Emperor." But if you take the line that Luke says, "No one's ever really gone," and then I listen to the laugh, I can see how people think it's the Emperor, but I'm thinking it's Snoke. Snoke is back, which is stupid because I thought he got sliced in half. But anyways, it sounds like Snoke laughing to me, not so much the Emperor. Then we get the Star Wars logo. This one's in blue, so Force Awakens was yellow. Last Jedi was red. This one's blue. And we finally get to see the title of Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Then we see another tag that says December. So that was the teaser. Shawn, this maniacal laugh is what everyone seems to be focusing on. Who did you think it was?
I am one of the people who does think it's the Emperor, but I think it in the sense that Snoke was the Emperor weirdly in some sort of, because you have to remember that in Episode 3, he tells Anakin at the opera in that famous "You ever heard the tale of Darth Plagueis" But what he's really talking about is his master. He was able to keep people from dying. So it's like, I think we're going to get into some of that weird stuff. Almost like, and I hate to mention Harry Potter again, the Horcruxes, where you essentially put your soul into an object or person, except we might get the Star Wars version of that. So it's cooler and works better. Yeah, that's what I think we're going to get. And
an idea. Call them the Star Cruxes.
That has got to be the worst idea.
We're going to get Anakin back.
You think Anakin's coming back?
I think Anakin's coming back.
I don't know if that sits well with me.
I really do. And I'd like that. I'd like to see Hayden Christensen play a not whiny 23-year-old. I really would. But, you know, at the same time, I also have this planned ending for Kylo Ren where he's in the elevator of something and the elevator door opens and he just gets shot in the fucking head by Chewbacca. You know, you ever seen The Departed? Like literally like that. Like he's talking to Huxley and they're just talking and he goes to go out and just bam right through the head, falls down dead, and you hear the Wookiee roar and then the movie ends. That's all I want to end because I fucking hate Kylo Ren. He's so uninteresting, and they wasted Captain Phasma, who I think has like the coolest design of almost any Star Wars villain. And in episode 7, it was she was okay, and in episode 8 they just kill her off. Maybe, you know, there's a thing in Star Wars: if you never see them actually die, they're probably still alive.
She fell into a fiery pit and exploded. I think she's dead.
I hope not. I want to see some, like, you know, I want to see her come back. I want to see her do stuff. But no, I still have my Captain Phasma bobblehead because I still believe she could be a cool character in some form. Like, come on.
I named my first dog Captain Phasma. So Captain Phasma is upstairs sleeping right now. Every time we have to take her to the vet. Oh, who do we have here? Captain Phasma. Oh, okay.
I thought Captain Phasma fell in a fiery pit and exploded. Now she's upstairs sleeping.
All right, so
it off.
That was the Star Wars Episode 9 teaser. Shawn, first off, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being super excited, where are you on excitement level for this film?
Definitely. Okay, so to be fair, this is a terrible time to do this, because right now, every Avengers Endgame trailer is sucking my excitement away right now. That looks like it could almost be as good as Infinity War. But then this Star Wars trailer drops, so it gets an 8 out of 10. And the other 2 points are invested in my 12 out of 10 for Endgame. So if you ask me in, like, June, I'll be like, oh, yeah, 10 out of 10, million out of 10. But, yeah, sadly, bad time of year to ask.
I'm also at an 8 out of 10, and I can totally understand where you're at. And hopefully we don't get another teaser or trailer until Endgame comes out and kind of runs through its cycle and all that kind of stuff. I know Endgame's going to be fantastic, but just as a major Star Wars fan, I hold that little bit of resentment towards it because it's going to do so much better than Star Wars, unfortunately. Just on the whole, this teaser, rating out of 10, what did you think of it?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, you're on, Shawn.
Excellent. Okay, good. I was about to say, I didn't want to interrupt another insightful question from Bpoe.
No.
Great stuff.
Smaller.
We'll get Bpoe's rating, his excitement level, and then his final question after Shawn's rating.
All right. So, yeah, 8 out of 10. Great stuff. Looks exciting. I like this trailer, honestly, a lot more than any other Star Wars trailer I've ever seen. Maybe with the exception of when I first saw the Force Awakens one. Yeah, probably when I saw that first Force Awakens teaser that's burned in my mind because it was on so much. And yeah, really looking forward to this. I think that if you did see The Last Jedi, please give this one a chance. I don't tend to hang out with a lot of super, overtly convention-going nerdy people. So, I can safely say that I hang around people who, know what deodorant is. But
That's not fair. Come on.
It is fair. I've met these people, and yeah, please go see this movie. But don't. I know it's fun to hate episode 8, but come on, it wasn't that bad.
It was really bad.
It was really bad, but it wasn't bad enough to kill a franchise. I'm sorry.
It nearly has. It's put all their other projects on hold, and this movie has to be incredibly successful for the rest of them to be greenlit.
It will. I hope so, because I want that Obi-Wan movie with Ewan McGregor where he jumps down from something, looks up, and says, "Hello there."
Yeah, that will be a fantastic film. All right, let's go to Bpoe. Bpoe, you've heard our review. You've watched the teaser. Where's your excitement level on a scale of 1 to 10?
Space shuttle makes hot dog look like little wiener.
I don't know what you're doing with your time, Bpoe, and I don't know what you're currently bringing to this podcast, but some people definitely enjoy your work.
If we lined up all of the meats on Earth, we could just hang out with them and perhaps give them gravy.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm sorry, what?
Bpoe, I think Bpoe's been getting fucked up as we've been reviewing this Star Wars teaser. And just anything possibly could be funny to him right now.
Look, I can prove to you guys that this is all just coming from one Reddit account. And it's the greatest thing I've ever seen because...
Why are you on Reddit?
Why aren't you?
Go to Andrew Raycroft's Twitter. That's where I am right now.
Reddit's better, though. It makes less sense.
Andrew Raycroft's Twitter has him and Steve Mason and Marty Biron talking. That's half my childhood.
Yeah, but Reddit has the better memes, man.
Yeah, Andrew Raycroft, get some memes. I know you're listening.
All right, Bpoe.
Me and Ryan defend you enough.
Bpoe, on a scale of 1 to 10 here, you're not a Star Wars fan. You don't usually go see these movies. How excited are you for this movie?
Yay.
That's not even a rating. That's a feeling or an emotion. I wanted a rating.
And
you're just saying that to make me happy. How dare you?
I don't know.
All right.
1.
Bpoe's not going to go see the film. Hopefully he represented those of you who don't care about Star Wars in the proper manner here.
I probably did not. In all fairness, I don't watch very many movies at all.
No, neither do I. It's pretty much limited to Star Wars and whatever my wife makes me watch, which over the past 6 months have been superhero movies.
I just remembered the other question I got to ask you guys. Okay, so now that I'm bandwagoning the Leafs for the time being, should I wear my Arenas or St. Pat's jersey?
St. Pat's.
That's a tough one. I love both of them. St. Pat's, I guess, just because it's more current right now.
Fair enough. I was going to say, if it matters, I got Matthews on the Arenas and Marner on this one.
Yeah, and Matthews never played in that Arenas game as well. And people have kind of forgotten that. Like, it just kind of got pushed to the side. I don't think the jersey was ever
Marner and
overly...
Bozak had 4 points each in that game. Like,
yeah,
those are the names you want.
Well, Bozak's gone now. Maybe I'll get a Blues Bozak jersey.
Hey.
What? There's nothing wrong with that.
Don't you maybe
just check the score?
Zach?
Good one. Good one, Bpoe.
That's hilarious.
Good one.
That's hilarious. In
All
all
right.
seriousness, you should get a Jonas Högland NHL 2000 Toronto Maple Leafs away jersey. Or no, get the home jersey. So one of each exists in the world.
Yeah, I think you've maxed out on Jonas Högland jerseys. That's enough. That guy doesn't need any more jerseys. Yeah, one is more than enough for anyone. All right, so this before this goes even further off the rails, because we talked so much hockey tonight, let's wrap it up. So right now on hockeyjerseyconcepts.com, we have the St. Louis Blues redesign, and entries for that are due April 19th. And then also on the same date, once the Blues competition wraps up, The Carolina Hurricanes redesign begins, and the entry phase for that will run for 2 weeks as well. So that begins on April 19th. Blues competition entry phase ends on April 19th. That's all we have for you this week. To stay up to date with the Jersey Nerds podcast, be sure to subscribe to the HJC Podcast Network, and you'll get notifications whenever new shows are posted. I'd like to thank Shawn and Bpoe for joining me this week, and thank you to all the Jersey Nerds for listening. Goodbye, everybody.